Good morning, welcome to the channel. This is Kaiwin back for another live trading video. This one is kind of sickening. I'm not gonna lie to ya. Um, Essentially, I'm gonna just walk through my trade, how I lost 5 days of profit. You guys have been watching me trade for the last 5 trades, so you saw my profits. I had almost $500 of profit and lost almost all of it. I didn't lose all of it, but almost all of it, enough for me to want to change my strategy. So I'm actually going to bring up my rules right now. Actually, let me know in the comments whatever you traded today. Some people traded gold. Some people, I know a lot of people who traded gold today. Let me just pull up my rules because I'm going to be changing them today. And this is going to be a very pivotal video to how I trade going forward. So let me see if I can get these rules up. And yeah, just comment down below what you traded today or what you feel like you want to bring into the new year. I think I'm definitely to the point of like total exhaustion. Like, I have mentors I'm literally paying money to, and if I keep going off track of what I know works for me personally, just because somebody may not agree with it, or um, it doesn't work for somebody else, that is just not gonna, just can't be how my mindset is, because I am absorbing everything that I am learning, and I want to, of course, these, it's almost 20 pages of rules that I have thus far, so in tracking my trades. So I'm trying to scroll down to it right now. Okay, I'm at it. Okay, but I've got to lock in my mindset when it comes to this type of stuff. So that's what we're going to be looking at right now. So these are my current rules, right? Gonna clear the. I actually edited this morning, and I always try to trade something, and then I always be like, well, I know I should only trade one thing. I know I should only trade one thing, but you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna actually add back gaps. Trade it well for a little minute, but actually I want to add back gaps, right? Um, and then at this point, it's like, bro, how about you only trade gaps? Because that's really the one thing that I keep going back to, and I just need to keep it as my one thing. So I need to clear my chart and look for a gap. If there's no gap, I'm not trading. That's kind of where my mind is at, because at the end of the day, you're going to see a gap 2-3 times a week, maybe twice, right? Which means 2 trades a week, which is actually what I'm trying to aim for. And as far as like not trading every single day, so when I think about, oh, I could trade this, trade that, trade this, trade that, like, it gives me more options to have more days to trade, but I don't need more trades a day. I need to be trading less anyways. So gaps are going to show 2 or 3 times a week. I'm willing to just trade those. Like, let's even go back and look just on, this is so disheartening to look at, and I missed a perfect gap setup, and that is what really makes me want to go back to gaps. I did mark down everything I was thinking through this trade, and if we have time today, I'll go through it. If not, I'll do it tomorrow during pre-market markup. But let's just go through this week. I guess no, that would start on the 15th, right? So let's just hide this for a second. Let's go to the 15th. Let's just look, like, how many days actually had gap, right? We had a gap on Monday that filled. Cute. No gap on Tuesday. Cute. Gap on Thursday. Gap on Wednesday. Cool, that's 2. And then we had a gap on Thursday, because what happens is that sometimes gaps refill or they inversely fill. So if a price moves back up to the same level where it reversed into, it can also reverse back into that gap. And that's exactly what happened today at 6:12. So that's multiple days this week that I could have got a gap if I was only looking for gaps. I think the problem is when you're not looking for something, you don't find it. And so I have to be mentally looking for gaps to be able to find them, right? And so when I say, oh, I'm going to look for this reversal, that reversal, this reversal, that reversal, I miss the gaps. So I need to just be clear. Okay, you're looking for a pre-market gap and sit out. Like basically, I'm going to do it in order, but let's just say like sit out otherwise, because I'm honestly like annoyed that I keep missing gaps because I'm looking for other stuff. And so it becomes a point where you don't need to be taught. Like I'm really learning from different mentors because of psychology, and then I fixed the psychology, and then I never got to really see it through because I'm entering all these different strategies. There's no hate or blame to anybody. It's just the truth. I'm gonna erase that because that's no longer needed. It said delete all the gaps. I mean, delete all the chop zones or ranges that aren't $2 or more, but I don't trade chop zones or ranges anymore. And I say that like that are not at least $2 because that was just enough to make money from trading it. But I don't even do that anymore. 4 to 1 hour active touches. I'm not trading like that anymore. That's just stupid. It's not stupid, but it is stupid because you love gaps. They show up multiple times a week. There's really no reason to be trading any other way unless you just want to make it harder for yourself. So I'm gonna keep this like having exit 1, exit 2, because you know I'm just gonna say extended. Exit 1 is like where I want to get out, like my official TP, and then extended for runners, like if it's really slapping down, like right now, once we filled that gap here, right, that was $1 of movement. It was a really small gap too, but at the end of the day, gaps always fill, and my overall sentiment for the week was bearish if you've been watching my videos. So I think I'm honestly getting into too many things at once, and I had to sell at a super duper loss. Like I only had lost a few hundred, like 200, and ended up 400 out on the day because I was up in profit all the way up here. And I was like, oh my gosh, is this a gap? Are we about to stop? Of course we do. Like we do every single time. Just that's how gaps work. So I mean, I might as well just trade them. Definitely gonna take one. I'm gonna say one setup because I can take trades. I can take a setup in multiple parts and it becomes multiple trades. Like I trade the first 5 minutes or trade the middle of it, trade the end of it. But it doesn't have to be one trade. It can be just like one setup. So just one gap. One setup / gap. Basically just one. And also today I looked under the 1 hour and I looked at the 5. How annoying is that? I know I'm not supposed to be looking at that any sort of way. Anyways, and I just want to keep that as a rule. Like, stop looking at the 5 minute, Brody. Like, that's not even your type vibe. I'm gonna keep this stuff, and then and then also like sell everything at 11:30. I definitely did not do that. But yeah, I just think my problem is when I do pre-market, I'm looking for the thing I want to look for and the thing that I'm comfortable trading, but not the setup that is the most consistent for me. Like, why would you not just pick gaps? Because they inverse, they double fill. I guess they inverse and they double fill, and they do a ton of crazy stuff that just is good because it's so easy to trade them, and I feel like I'm making it harder on myself. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into today's trade. I'm gonna pull up this blue right here, and I wrote a lot, but I promise you it's not gonna take that long to get through it. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so I'm actually gonna bring up the No, I'm gonna leave it here. Okay, so the first thing I did, trying to move down this gap. Move down this, I don't know how it gets so big. I just want it to be smaller. You know what? Yeah, there it goes. I'm so sorry. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this here. So, the first thing I was thinking is that we're gonna be bearish on the day, right? So yellow is my target to take puts. Okay, and then I see I'm literally walking you through the trade. So I come into the market. I'm like, okay, it's gonna be bearish today, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna set this yellow as my entry target. And then I was like, oh, you know what? We might just not come up all the way that far. Maybe we want to start our bearish energy kind of early because this candle started to squeeze out and it was kind of weak. So I was like, okay, I'll just go ahead and enter um, right here. So I entered for some puts. They were for one put, it was $90. And then I exited at my light blue. So I'm actually going to bring the numbers up for y'all because I'm trying not to confuse my own self at this point. My account is still above $1,000, but that's so annoying. Like, okay, so we bought our first, right? It was $90 at 9:31. Can somebody tell me why I was trading 1 minute into market open when my rules clearly state to wait till 10 a.m.? Right, that's called not following your rules. Okay. I'm just getting completely exposed here. This is awesome. So let's go down to the 5 minute. And so 9:31, right? We start being bullish, and I'm entering, and we're bearish. Sorry, I was entering to be bearish. We're bearish for a little bit, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. I like this. And then I actually sell that one for a profit at 9:37. So a little bit after this candle, right? After that volatility. Perfect. Right. So that's what we did. Now let's go back and look at what we did next. This is gonna be such a all over the place. Okay. So after we did that, after we entered, it started to reverse on us. So the dark blue, actually, okay, I'm confused. I don't even think these notes make sense. I'm actually screaming right now. I wish I could put these notes somewhere so I could read them properly. And my computer is like kind of lagging, so I don't think it's gonna really work for real, but let's see. Okay. We're gonna copy this here. We're going to paste it here, see if it works. Should. Okay, perfect. I don't know why I didn't mean to do it like that, but okay. So let's just remove this off my chart because that's in the way. Okay. All right. So I'm looking at the 1 hour and I'm gonna put the 4 hour because this is how I was looking at it. So this will help me to explain it better. Okay. Let's just go ahead and and I was almost $200 in profit. And I was like, no, I want my full amount. And by the time I even realized that, because I'm trying to hit this high, whole time it's filling this gap that I had no clue was even happening until I like saw it too late. We had already reversed. I was like, why are we reversing? And I was like, oh, the thing right in my face is why we're reversing. Okay, so let's even look at this. All right, let's get into it. So, number one, I have some bearish energy and I trade ranges. So I'm like, boom, if we hit this yellow line at 612, we're going to shoot down. As you can see, that's what happened. But I was like, instead of holding the call that I took to the upside, now I remember, okay, so I was bearish on the day if it hits this 612, but it was here at 608. So I'm like, okay, maybe we're starting our bearish energy early. Maybe we're going to go down early because sometimes that happens. And then I was like, that's kind of far, but okay, because on the lower time frame, we can see that we started to be very bearish on the open, right? Not there. Here. So I'm like, okay, yes, we are starting early. But then, shortly after that, I realized that we weren't going to be going down and we were going to keep going up. So I was like, okay, we're going back in my original direction. So I exited at this blue line, I believe. And I'm okay, I'm going to enter for some calls. And then what happens, this, as you can see, this wick comes all the way down. So I'm like, okay, we're going back bearish. So I get in for some puts and I get out because of a 5-minute hammer. So let me show you the 5-minute hammer. There was 2 hammers. Here. So here's the first hammer. Here's the second hammer. I'm like, bet. But then, so I get out and I get in for some puts because I think this is going to push even farther. But guess what? It absolutely just retested. It didn't go farther. And so I exited for 20% loss on the first one. Then I entered in for a contract that cost $150 and it was 10 out of the money. And like I said, I entered on the purple because I'm like, okay, we fully reversed. Let me go ahead and get in for some more puts. Well, guess what happened right after that? It goes right back up. So, why does this say green plus 2? Oh, I added 2 more puts on this green line. So I enter at this purple. I enter 2 more puts as it comes down a little bit and wicks down, which, okay, first of all, this is the 5-minute on the right side. I shouldn't be using it anyways, but let's ignore the fact that I'm literally ignoring all of my rules, right? So boom, we do that. Then I remembered in my head, somebody said, I don't remember who, I think it was a YouTuber, who's like, do not extend your hold date just because you can. If you bought a contract that was far out, but it's not playing in your direction, don't hold it hoping it goes in your direction. But then I was like, yeah, like my overall direction definitely is bearish, but if it's going bullish, I'll still hold it because of my overall bias was still bearish, right? Boom. Then at 10 a.m., there was another hammer candle, and right at 10 a.m., so I was talking about this one here. So I entered at this purple, and I added more here. Then there was another red candle, another red hammer. So I was like, okay, bet. I'm gonna enter. So I was 16% out on it as it was crossing that purple line. and it was crossing this green line, but then it actually never crossed on the 5 minute. So I was like, okay. So I sold the 3 of them at the same exit that I just exited at. And then I added 5 for $92 at the 5 or $92 at the orange to try to catch some calls, right? Because at this point, we had just, I exited, right? Exited here. And, well, this is the trade I was in. So I exited, added 5 added 5 calls here, right? And so I was like, okay, it's gonna go up. No, it's just filling the gap. So this is so confusing. I'm never writing my rules out like this again. But I'll just live trade next time because this is crazy. But I was 60% out, and then I sold 3 at price 610. So when price at 610 at 1027, which is somewhere here, right? I sold my 3 because it came down. So I sold at this same gray line that I had originally entered at, right? Because I entered here for puts and I had to exit. And so the next thing that happened is I told myself to stay off the 5 minute, bro. Like, if you have a bias, then why are you moving to a lower time frame? Because the point of buying a 10% contract is 10% of your account size is so that you can literally wait on it. Like, the point is that it allows you to wait. You don't have to jump out. And so now I have to wait longer than my original one because it just sucks. Like, at this point, I could have scaled closer to, I could have scaled the close of the 1 hour. So but it would still be bad, right? So it doesn't really matter if I would have exited or entered here. When this candle pulled back, I still wouldn't have, and I would have still exited. So the whole idea is that I'm trying to get at here is that I need to be waiting till 10 a.m. to see what needs to shake out pre-market, because I still would have been able to catch this by 10 o'clock. I still would have been able to catch this gap fill, and that was essentially the only price movement that really mattered today besides the reversal. That was 6.9 to 12, so that was $3 I could have caught of just nice price movement. And then yeah, so I at 6, and then again, yeah, at 6:12:26 I was in calls and I was in profit. I was at 6:12 and I was 26% in profit, and that was at 10:41. So that was here 6:12 when it hit that line again. And then guess what? That was the end of the gap fill, and I got reversed on very strongly, and I went from like 70, $80 out of, because I was still in profit here the whole time. I was $150 in profit up here at 612. Then when it hit, I went down to like $70 profit. Then all the way down, it pushed very strongly, and I got out. I hope that makes sense of what I'm trying to explain. I'm probably not gonna write my rules like this again because that was extremely confusing to try to go back over. I was using my phone for my Webull app, and my laptop was dead, so I couldn't really do how I normally live trade. I was using my other computer, but you know what? It's fine. I have really been able to understand my strategy more this week, and I think that my account is still above ground. I think that's great. But you know, if anybody says to me that paper trading is not the same, I just really don't believe it, because I've road traded thousands and thousands of dollars, and when I go and buy paper trade, I take it just as seriously, doing exactly what I would do, and I still feel the emotion. Um, so personally, I still really feel like it's the same, and until I'm able to like get back to my consistency, I'm not gonna remove myself off of paper trading, because if I make $500 over 4 or 5 trades, but then when it comes to scaling that for the next 5 days again, it just can't happen. Like, that's just not okay. So I'm hoping that I made sense. I was in overall bearish sentiment today, and I took it too early. And then I was chasing the calls. That happened because I noticed the reversal too late, and then I noticed the gap fill too late. So everything I noticed was just too late, and that's only because of a few reasons. One of them being not locking into my specific strategy and outsourcing the psychology part, and also not doing the thing that's repeatable for me personally. Um, because in my last video, you guys saw that I was like, trying to fix my strategy and things, but the whole point of me making these videos is not so I seem like the best trader on the world, or on the world is crazy. In the world, it's really so much more that when I, you know, decide to stick to my strategy, then there's evidence of all the struggles I did have, because once you get to a certain point, you kind of forget them. I mean, even with where I am now in trading, like I forgot everything prior. So like all the specific little things I struggled with, I forgot all of them because I didn't really take note of them. So that's what these videos are really for. And yeah, so I'll see you guys. Sorry, in my next video. And Kai Wynn is out.